It's close to your kitchen. You're gonna go use the cilantro. You're gonna go see when there's caterpillars and you could go take care of it. So placement's huge for success in the garden. Today we're gonna talk about the 3 biggest mistakes I see people make when they set up their vegetable gardens in their yards. Number 1 is placement. A lot of people will either put it in the shade, like it's the middle of the day, this gets some shade from this big pine tree, but it's really open on this property, so it gets a ton of sun. From the beginning of the day to the end of the day, it gets a lot of hours of sun. So you wanna make sure it can get sun if you're growing veggies. Sometimes western obstruction is good because then it provides you shade in the hot heat of the afternoon in the summertime. So that's something to consider, but it mostly needs sun. When you're in your yard, use your compass. Like when I'll go to a consult, I'll pull out my compass, I'll look at the space, and I'll see where does the sun hit throughout the day? Where can I get southern exposure to grow all my winter veggies, delicious crops? I like to also not put my garden like really far away in my yard, like around the garage behind, because it's proximity's power, I say all the time. It's close to your kitchen. You're gonna go use the cilantro. You're gonna go see when there's caterpillars and you could go take care of it. So placement's huge for success in the garden. The second mistake I see people make is, what kind of ingredients are you choosing? Choose your ingredients wisely. So basically, what does that mean? Like, what is your wood made out of? What is your soil made out of? You know, what kind of plants are you using? Who grew your plants? Where are your seeds coming from? So these things are so important to consider, and we take that off a lot of people's plate and just say, hey, we have all these organic certified ingredients and principles, but it's good to do some research and not use pressure treated wood or just any wood you find from a painted barn or something. You want to use something better and more clean when you're growing vegetable plants. Last year, starting right in the beginning of fall planting, we got a couple loads of really bad soil. And it wasn't necessarily bad, it was just really acidic and mulchy and not good for our vegetable crops. And we could tell right when we put it in a couple gardens. A couple weeks later, the seeds weren't hitting a lot of our crops that we're used to doing what it's supposed to do and with our recipe, right? And our ingredients weren't hitting. And all it was the soil was different. So what is good soil even, and what do I need? Because someone in Florida, South Florida like me, the needs are gonna be different than someone in Canada who might need something actually the opposite of us. So it's good to know, what is my soil to start out with? So check it out, there's soil types, and then there's soil like pH. Every different crop wants different things. So it's hard to just say, oh, I need to just get it to this point because everything will be great. Our soil, for example, is sandy. It's like beach sand. Well, blueberries like it acidic, so that's a totally different story than our delicious alkaline Florida soil that all the stuff we like to grow grows in. So without getting too technical or thinking about the numbers too much, you want to have your soil to be pH neutral, which I guess if you did a test, it would be between like 6 and 7, 6.5, and most crops like that. Our Florida soil is a little alkaline. I think it's like 8 or something. So if you did Jabotacaba, for example, one of our fruit trees, we would do something totally different and put coffee grounds and peat moss and all this acidic matter, soil matter, that would bring that soil level down so the Jabotacaba can thrive in the acidic soil it likes. So everything has its own thing it likes, but for the most part in the veggie garden, you want to have not super acidic soil, and this soil we got delivered was meant for like citrus. It was like actually meant for acidic crops. And to bring the alkaline soil that we have here in Florida, they spread it on the citrus, it brings it down. So it actually is not what we want in the garden. So cool, I have my amazing soil source that's sustainable and local, hopefully, and it's pH balanced, it's a really, really good consistency. We're ready to grow crops in it. What is the third mistake I see people make? And that is by far the watering regimen. And really the follow through, and thinking that when we plant, like I just planted this new garden, we haven't even finished mulching or whatever, and to think that it's just all done. It's the follow through, really. But I would say more specifically, because that's vague, that's easy to say, oh, it could grow, but how could it grow better? How could we have done better with the follow through? And that answer really is the watering regimen. I believe because some people will water too much. There's sprinklers that go on every, who knows when at any given time with these communities. It rains all the time. So I tend to like to do a drip. And my buddy Jason's funny, he was saying like, he was like every other day is the move, you know? But we really do like the every day in the beginning to get those seeds to pop. And then we'll dial it back to every other day. Watering more doesn't necessarily mean more growth and happier plants. That's not the case. So there's a balance. So I just want to communicate that. And honestly, automating it makes it the best too. I tell people that's really the way to go. Great soil and automatic watering. So I tell people in my master class, and as you can see, they made the mistakes of the setting up the garden list because they're important. So I would automate the watering and get it dialed in right, and you'll see the plants will tell you. And you'll dial it in for your spot and get really great soil before you plant. And honestly, you're gonna have an amazing result. So I hope you guys learned something, and we'll see you next time.